sky.
Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you. I am pain.
Good evening, boys, girls, ghosts, ghouls, family, and friends. Welcome to this week's episode of Sacrificial Terror Podcast. I am Sam, I am Mason. With me always, the fabulous
Zombie Barbie. Yeah.
That's a delay.
And my brother from another mother, Mr. Incomparable himself, Lance the Flare Wagner.
Woo!
Yeah, baby. All right. And as always, our show is brought to you by Sacrificial Pawn Productions. And our producers are Miss Samantha Wagner, who's off to Lance's left-hand side on my camera, with her ears always on, making sure we stay focused and on target. And Miss Zombie Barbie herself. And tonight we have a very special guest for you guys. We have Mr. Jackson Stewart. Welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, Jackson Stewart.
Thank you for having me on.
So glad you're here. Yeah.
Glad you came on.
Beyond the Gates freaking rules.
Hell yeah.
And
Thank you.
from my understanding, Mr. Jackson is primarily known as a writer more than an actor, director, and also a producer. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's hilarious that anyone would think of me as an actor, but
I saw that you do actually have 4 acting credits, so that's the only reason I brought that up.
yeah, I think I don't know how any of those happened. Those were all like people's, grievous errors that they've made in casting project, thinking I can somehow act. But yeah, I guess it counts. I have no idea.
Take the credits. Take the credits.
He was like, I don't know if I acted,
so
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So then to clarify, you are a writer, producer, director? Is that about right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. And some of your credits go all the way back to 2011 on fucking Supernatural of all things. Seriously, dude? How in the hell did that pan out?
Yeah, that was a weird one. So I got a job as the writer's PA on that show, and basically I pitched a bunch of ideas to them, and then within like the first, like 3 or 4 months on that show, I had like a writer's credit, and I was in the Writers Guild, and
Damn.
it was very weird because I mean at the time it was like, it was definitely like a popular show for the CW, but it hadn't really become like the
Right.
pop
What it
culture
is now.
that it is now, where it's in season 15 or whatever. But yeah, it was just completely random. It's like I pitched it, they liked the idea, and then like 3 months after I pitched it, I had like a copy of the episode in my hand, and it was just very, it was really weird.
That's cool.
It gave me like a really incorrect view of how things are made, like it's like a total anomaly so far. But it was rad, and I liked Jared and Jensen and,
Mhm.
Jim Beaver and Misha and a good chunk of the writers, it was a cool thing to work on. I'm still just flabbergasted that show's on the air still. I mean, I thought maybe it would go to like season, 7 or 8, but
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah,
15
Been going
years,
a long
man.
It's a
damn
long
time.
run. Yep.
yeah. I
Mhm.
think I might have. Yeah, I don't remember what it started. Like maybe 2005 or something. I mean, it was.
That had to be about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
So I think I was like 20 when that show first came on, which is insane. But yeah,
Still a wee baby. Still just a wee baby.
yeah.
And that's what you were thinking. It's just, this is easy, right? At 20 years old, this is easy.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it was. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like what. Yeah, I don't remember how. I think I was like 24 or 25.
Oh, that's right. Okay. The show came out when you were 20. I got you now. I got you.
Yeah. But it was just so weird, like seeing how fast that was, and then meeting all of them, like that was. But I mean, it was also just. I have kind of like a good thing where it's like I'm so oblivious to like a lot of like current pop culture goings on. So like whenever like when I went in on that show, I was just like, okay, cool. I need a job,
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then like later on, and I started watching it after I worked on it, and I was like, oh, this is actually like good. I was really surprised. And then I found out like I found out there was just this like massive fan base for it, and they were, I've met like a good number of fans from the show, and they're all really cool. But they were like super dedicated to it. I mean, it's just insane. I mean, I guess in a lot of ways, I'm not really surprised it's still on the air. But yeah, it was completely random how that happened, and like could probably never be repeated. It was just like, I put in the right story at the right place at the right time, and then it got made, and then that was the end of it, So.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's fucking cool though to add that to your damn credits. That's
Hell
badass.
Hell
Yeah,
it is.
It's
You're
better
like,
than a
yeah,
shark.
no big deal.
Yeah.
That's just supernatural.
I mean,
I've worked with huge names, no big deal.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's so awesome.
Oh man.
yeah, it was wild, but
That's cool.
But
though.
yeah, that was I think that's like my first like real writing credit too, which is also weird, but
That's a big thing though for your first writing credit.
Right?
yeah, I mean,
He's like, whatever. I got beyond the gates. I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah. Which is freaking fantastic. I love that
Hell
fucking movie.
yeah.
Oh my God. I love it.
Thank you.
Really
Yeah.
good. And I'm not just saying, I think people think I like stuff because we have our guests on, and I swear to God, I really like these movies. And it's like, I was kind of, I'll be honest, there was a starting point of the movie. I'm like going, okay, win. And then all of a sudden it just happens. And I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. And I was hooked. And I'm a huge fan.
I mean, that was kind of the aim of it for better or worse. And I want it to just be like very shocking. I know exactly the point you're talking about.
Right.
But I wanted it to be like kind of you're like, okay, where's this going? And then once it hooks you in, it's
it was really. And Barbara Crampton was how was that? I mean, just Barbara Crampton. I mean, directing her.
No, I mean, that was like a really interesting story how that came about because, actually, I'll show you something to my right here. I have this like
Reanimator.
Oh, shit. That's huge.
Yes, that is great.
Yeah, so Stuart Gordon gave that to me though.
Oh wow!
And basically, I met her because I was his intern for like 3 months or something right before I got that job on Supernatural. And at the time they were doing he was doing Reanimator the musical. She came to she had sort of retired at that point. Like I don't know if they'd done You're Next at this point, but I mean, she was just totally off the grid. She was living up in Mill Valley, where, you know, I was like a massive fan of hers from Reanimator and From Beyond and Castle Freak and, you know, Chopping Mall and all this other stuff.
So many good ones.
Yeah, and, you know, Body Double too. She's got like a small part in that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, basically she just, you know, we met each other at a screening of, or at a performance of Reanimator the musical. She gave me like a big hug, and then she's just like, "Oh, it's really nice to meet you." And I went out to dinner with her, Stewart, and then Kelly Maroney from Night of the Comet.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was rad. And then I just sort of became friends with her after that. But it was really like, it was more like directing my friend than like directing, you know, like Barbara Crampton from Reanimator.
Right.
I mean, it was still like there were moments where I was like sitting in there and we're filming her. I'm like, this is really fucking cool. I'm looking for her, you know, because it's like,
wow.
It's the kind of thing like the path to get there, you don't really think about that like once you're at that point. But, you know, if I went back in time to like my 15 or 16-year-old self and told him that, it's like, well, how the fuck is that ever
how's that gonna happen?
but it just did. And then, you know, I mean, she was awesome to work with. She's a terrific actor, just, you know, super dedicated, really smart, has a lot of good ideas, and you know, she's a dream.
Man,
Nice.
So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her part was awesome though. I loved her part. I just liked how you took like the, you know, so I was reading where you filmed at, and it said you did it in, was it like one location? Because it was a video store, right? Well, obviously it was a video store, but it's like a real legit video store. I was like, obviously it was a video store, but
obviously.
Yeah, I think we had like we had a few different locations. I mean, it was, you know, the house was like a gigantic pain in the ass to find. Like that was surprisingly really difficult.
Was that house in anything? I don't mean to get you there, Jackson, but was the house anything? The house looks so familiar. Is it just reminding me of something?
There's sort of a reason for that, but so basically,
exclusive.
You know, I looked at, basically, I tried to find a house online through like these different location services and stuff. And I maybe looked at, like, no hyperbole, probably like 3,000 different locations online.
Oh, wow.
Like, scrolling through like pages and pages and pages of this stuff. It was just fucking impossible. Like, and there were a couple places that seemed like workable, you know, and then I went out to visit them, and they just it's like the layout was weird, or like just something was off with it, or I mean, it was just like the wrong vibe, you know. And finally, you know, I talked to my DP and my production designer, and I was just like, I gotta fucking find somewhere. And so I looked up the neighborhood, because I basically wanted a house like the one they had in People Under the Stairs, where it was like one of those craftsman houses. And so I looked it up. It was in the West Adams district in Los Angeles, which is, you know, not that far away. And basically I just went and like knocked on all the doors of like the houses I thought would fit, you know. And I was just walking through the neighborhood by myself. I saw that house, and I just knew instantly. I was like, oh, that's where I'm like, that's the house. Like, that's perfect. Like, that's exactly what I need. And I went and knocked on their door, just told them, I was like, hey, I'm directing a movie. Can I use this house? You know, like, we'll pay you this amount. And they were like, oh, okay. You know, and
that is so cool.
Shit.
Yeah, they just agreed.
That is a great story.
Yeah, I really just wanted something in that neighborhood, because I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have been out here before, but
I'm from LA, so I've been here.
I've been there. I just don't know the area you're talking about.
I was 5.
I live in Santa Clarita, so.
Okay, yeah. So you totally know, like, getting like a good, like, 2-story, like, old school kind of craftsman house like that is not that easy. You know, it's like all not. And a lot of, like, everything now too, it's just super modern, you know, where it's like so many of these houses, they just, you know, someone buys them and guts them and then they're gone, and it's like, you know,
that's what we in the construction world call a California remodel.
Yeah. You know, but yeah, I mean, it's like so many of these places, it's like they just go so quickly, you know, and so it was a real challenge finding that, but you know, eventually it's like if you just push up against whatever the problem is long enough, it'll give, and you know, you'll succeed. So
I found a few areas that have a lot of those old craftsman style homes, or like Pasadena, Glendale area, some in Burbank, some older neighborhoods in like Silmar, San Fernando have, you know, still have some of the old craftsman stuff, or even like Granada Hills if you go deep into the
really
suburbs.
I gotta remember this. I didn't know about Granada Hills. Pasadena.
Hey man, the valley's my stomping grounds, bro.
Yeah. No, this is good to know, because like Pasadena and Altadena are impossible to shoot in. Like you can shoot there from, like, I think it's like you can't shoot for more than like 2 or 3 consecutive days, and it's like there's a cutoff on the hours. Like you can't shoot past 10 p.m. in Pasadena.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like, it's totally like they literally like couldn't make Halloween there today, even though that was you know, where they shot. It's like the city ordinance for Pasadena is just impossible. So
almost like don't come make movies here.
Pretty much.
But we're like the number 1 movie making place ever. But don't make them.
Don't come here anymore, please.
We're gonna make it as hard as fucking possible.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's kind of like Los Angeles in a nutshell. They're like doing everything they can to prevent you from making a movie.
Wow.
Jeez.
Well, that depends, because if you're doing an interior shoot, then they can't tell you when you can and cannot film.
Because they won't know.
Yeah. Like up in Pasadena or elsewhere?
Anywhere. Unless somebody calls.
Yeah.
And somebody reports
someone tattles and
freaking snitch.
Yeah. Snitches get stitches.
Stitches, yeah.
I mean, it's weird though, because it's like the different areas of the city will have, like, some of them are a little more lax. I mean, you kind of have to get permits. Are actually not that difficult to get, and they're pretty reasonably priced when all is said and done. But it's still, there's like different areas have different rules. But generally, like in the valley, you're pretty safe. Like they're a lot more loose there. I mean, provided you're not like, you know, blowing people's
shotguns and shotguns in the backyard and shit.
Well, it's like, okay, so I live out in Agua Dulce, and we are constantly having filming all around us, but they only do it for like 2-3 days at a time. So,
really?
But they'll have like explosions and gunfire and all kinds of shit because of what the location looks like. It's the high desert out here. And you know, so they do a lot of criminal mines out here. They do a lot of, you know, shit like that out here. So
Star Trek
was done at Vasquez Rocks, which is like a mile and a half from my house. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, my son and I walk to Vasquez Rocks every so often and go fucking hiking.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I've always wanted to visit there. I mean, that's like a pretty iconic, you know, location.
I was a little jealous, just a skosh, you know.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. A lot. Damn it.
But it's all right, because you're going to come out and visit me.
I know.
We have the premiere of Normal Terror. So
I wish Texas was a little bit closer to California, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Dang it.
That's all good. Hey, baby, we're going in theaters nationwide, so it doesn't matter.
That's right.
You'll have to set something up with Roy and everybody out there at a Cult Classic convention so we can premiere there as well.
That's right. Go to the gas station.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, baby.
so I saw John Kondelik's name
Oh yeah.
on your producers. So why are you laughing?
He's like a good friend of mine.
Okay. Did you work with both of them or just him as far as being the producer?
No, so that was a little odd how he ended up like getting involved to like help us with finishing funds for it.
Okay.
And I mean I know John and James and they're both amazing guys and you know I adore both of them. But yeah, John I think watched like an early cut and then we just needed like money to go do, you know, a handful of reshoots and some other post work. And, you know, he watched it and liked it and just, you know, kind of came aboard from there. But, yeah, he's awesome. He's like just a super smart guy and, solid producer, you know, can't knock him in any way, shape, or form. Solid family man, you know.
Yeah, they seem like cool guys, huh?
Yeah.
You cut out.
Oh, I said, how do you know?
Yeah, he said, how do you know him?
Oh, okay. He keeps cutting out. I don't know them personally, but they're both follow on Instagram and Facebook, and like sometimes they'll like my shit, but. So like I saw, you know, how they do right on, but dual vision. So have they always had dual visions? Was that always their company or is that new?
I don't know. I mean, I think they started maybe like 6 years ago, somewhere around there. Cause they did another movie that, well, I mean, they're directors too. And they've, you know, did my thing go out? I don't know.
No,
you're still there.
Yeah,
something beeped, but you're there.
Okay. But yeah, they've done, you know, I think they started that company and they do a ton of stuff. They have like a stage that they rent out to people and, but yeah, I mean, they're great guys.
Nice. And then what about, Jared?
I was wondering about like,
No, go ahead. You're good.
Just cut Lance off.
No. And we must be having a delay or something.
I think there is.
Go, Rhiannon, go.
No, you go first.
I'm glad it wasn't me this time.
No.
For once. No, kidding.
You go.
No, I was just going to ask, so I saw Jared Cohn's ex-girlfriend was in it. Was he part of it also, or did Sarah I can't say her name. Sarah Malakulain.
Oh, Sarah? No. So
Sarah Malakulain.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how she came on. I think she'd done a movie with Barbara Crampton, and I mean, the way a lot of these movies work, which most people don't talk about, is like you start shooting it, and you usually everything is just kind of blocked out over a period of weeks, and so some of the parts, like when you start shooting, might not necessarily be cast. And
okay.
Sarah was in a movie called Sunchoke that Barbara was in. And I'd seen that and I liked Sarah in it. And basically I asked, Barbara to reach out to her. Sarah read the script and liked it. And then, I just cast her from that. I literally hadn't even met her until she showed up on set that day. And luckily, her and Justin Wellborn, who, played her ex-boyfriend, had some good chemistry between them. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really intersect with any of those people like Jared or, any of that group. I think I met him at the premiere or something, but other than that, I might have gone to one of his birthdays or something, but I didn't really know him before that. And so, but yeah, I mean, it was basically everyone, once you have a movie up and running, all sorts of people will kind of come into it that, you normally wouldn't cross paths with.
Oh yeah. It's all about who you know, right? All right, what were you gonna say, Lance?
I was wanting to know like how all the I'm trying to figure out the special effects. That's what I'm going through the IMDb, and I'm trying to figure out who did the amazing job, how many takes it take, because I'm like, and I'm real careful with spoilers now. Okay, so I want to know. What I do want to say, I think it's all right. I think it's cool that two of them. I don't know if that's really a spoiler or not. Can I say that?
Are we allowed to say what happened?
I mean, I won't get too exclusive. I just want to say what, two guys got it twice. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, and got it like really good.
Really good.
I mean, really good.
Yeah. So those effects, like Josh and Sierra Russell, they're a married couple. I found them through Brian Sowell, my DP, and like I talked to a couple other effects people prior to that, but I just like met them, totally fell in love with both of them. They were incredible, and like we were just like perfectly aligned on everything, like how we wanted to do everything, and but yeah, I mean, they started working on it like months in advance, because I mean, when you're doing like a lower budget project and you don't have, the luxury of like a ton of extra money to throw at a problem when it comes up, you really have to have everything like pretty detailed and planned out in advance. And, they just came up.
Oh, he just froze.
I froze?
Yeah,
okay, say it again. Okay.
It caught up.
No, I just said we had like a pretty ironclad plan for when we actually, got around to shooting. That said, there was still a bunch of issues, which like you can't really predict. Like we like the guy who was like supposed to blow up, Matt's head in it. He like got sick like the day we were shooting it.
Oh shit!
He like replaced himself with this other dude, and he like showed up with like a shotgun, and we were like, "What? Like, we're planning on doing this." And
he showed up with a shotgun.
Wow!
Yeah, it was super weird. And then we ended up like there was some like serious problem solving we had to do on set, because we had to do that like 3 separate times, but we only had like the one head, so it was just like unbelievably stressful, because Josh and Sierra had spent like a lot of time making that head to blow up. And the first 2 times we did it just were like nothing came out. It's like stuck like shotgun with like a blank in the back of like Matt's, fake head, pulled the trigger, and it's like a fucking shotgun going off in the middle of Los Angeles, like super loud. And then like it was like just this like tiny trickle of blood.
Oh no.
It was basically like the guy was using blanks, I think. Or I mean, he definitely was using blanks, and we were like, oh, we're fucked. Like this head is going to be ruined, and like we're just doomed. And so he did it again. Nothing came out. It was just like another tiny like trickle of blood. And then Jason Miller.
Was there something wrong with the squib or what?
No. So initially, like what the way we were going to do that was like, have you seen that movie The Beyond, like the Lucio Fulci one?
Mm-hmm.
Long time ago.
Okay, so there's like a shot in that where this girl gets her head blown off, and basically like the front part of her skull just like blows off.
Okay.
And the way they did that was they had like an explosive charge in there, and it just, like fired it off basically.
Right.
And so the plan we had was our original guy was going to put like a charge in there, and then blow off this like chunk of his head, like, this like thing was getting like ripped out of it.
Right.
And when we were there, that was the guy just brought like everything wrong, like where he like
no.
couldn't fucking do that. And so, Jason Miller, our VFX guy, which we didn't have very much VFX, but I mean, it's just common where you have like wire removal and that kind of stuff. He came over to me and he was just like, he's like, why don't you just score, the shit out of his head, like with the spot you want to have get ripped off, and then we'll do like a quick replacement and they won't notice. And I was like, okay, this is basically like our last shot at this, because I was positive like cops were going to show up and permits. It was like a really dicey scenario. And so, so basically we did, Josh and Sierra, like cut all these like marks into his face to the spot that was going to get ripped out. The guy, loaded up the gun, pulled the trigger, and it just like blew off perfectly. And I was just
nice,
incredibly relieved. But yeah, I mean, it was like fucking terrifying doing that.
Well, the cool thing is that as long as you were rolling on the first two mistakes, you have that footage to go back to where you can cut from it not being so well to it being fucking perfect. And seeing together perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it was like once it was all done, it did, work. And I knew it's like once you had the impact of it, it would be fine. But it's like sometimes getting there, you're just like, this is fucked. Like you're just like, this,
I just love the blood.
All the shit inside, all the goop, awesome. And so that was awesome. All. And when it hit the actors, I was like, "Oh shit, that's awesome!" I mean, they just get doused in this blood.
I love that.
Throw blood? Did you throw blood at the actors?
We had like a blood cannon, and I think
awesome.
That would be awesome.
I was awesome. Mad at Ram that day, so I just had him like aim it in his face, and then
that was great.
Really bad for them, but. I mean, and he's like always super game for getting bloody, so it was.
Hell yeah!
It was a lot. It just hits him.
That's awesome.
And all the shit.
I mean, it was like a shocking amount that came out of that. Like,
so much.
Like,
so with what you said a minute ago, Jackson, would you say like the Italian horror helped shape you for your visions, or for some aspects, I guess?
I mean, yeah, I grew up like loving that stuff. I mean, I'm still a massive fan of it, and it's just like those movies there's nothing like them. It's like you can't. It's like there's no point of comparison, because they're trying to do this weird thing where it's like not all of them, but a lot of them are kind of like trying to replicate like bigger American movies, but it's filtered through this like bizarro Italian sensibility, and so it just comes out being this kind of like surreal, crazy thing, and I'm like totally in love with it. It was interesting because a lot of the like earlier, sort of like Mario Bava stuff, it's like it didn't necessarily have that just insane vibe to it, but it was, like once Argento kind of like found his footing and stuff like Suspiria and Deep Red to an extent, and then later like Tenebrae and Fulci and Lenzi and Deodato and all these guys.
So many good ones.
Yeah, it just had such like a unique kind of point of view from anything else that was really going on in horror at the time, and I've just it's always like resonated with me for some reason.
I always thought zombies fighting sharks was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, how
can you not like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Zombie 2 is one of my favorites. I love that.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Crazy.
Zombies fighting sharks.
It's the best. What's the status on the Hollywood reboot? Is that a working title, or is that going to be the actual title?
No, so that's a little weird because that was another project. I mean, that's pretty much dead at this point. That was going to be. I actually was going to do that before Beyond the Gates, and like we came really close to making that at one point. It was going to have like Thomas Mann.
Good, yeah, you had a good cast.
Peter Gilchrist from he's on Atypical now, and a couple other people, but yeah, that just that ended up like falling apart like right before we were supposed to start shooting, which ended up kind of being a blessing in disguise. But yeah, there's nothing really going on that one now. You know, I mean, it's like maybe I'll dust that off and turn it into something else someday, but that one's pretty much dead.
I was wanting to see Lisa Marie again, you know.
Yeah. Well, she, you know, funny enough, I think we maybe talked to her about playing Barbara's role at one point, like, because initially, like, Barbara came onto the project as a producer, not as an actor, because I think she was interested in producing, and also like knowing. I don't know if you guys have like met her or anything.
Oh,
but
not yet. No.
Mm-mm.
She's like the least menacing person in the world. So
Seems like it.
Like, initially I was just like, does she have this in her? And then, you know, of course she did. And I mean, she was like completely perfect, you know. But yeah, Lisa Marie was. Yeah, we talked to her about it at one point, and then I think there were a couple other people that I was kind of thinking about, but Barbara just felt like the best person to use, you know. And also she's like connected to all the movies that, you know, influenced me, and it just felt like the right choice.
Great choice.
She did great, yeah. She did awesome. I liked the two main characters too, who played Gordon and John. They played off of each other so good.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was all, a lot of that was just, you know, casting. I mean, it's weird because it's like there's so many things, like if you just don't cast the right people in those roles, like it just changes the dynamic so much. But yeah, I mean, I think they both did like a superb job, you know, and it's like I wouldn't trade either of those guys for anyone in those roles. Like I think they're both perfect for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they did great. And then so the part where, so are we allowed to say the deaths that happened, like the gore?
I mean, the movie's been up for like 3 years at this point.
Okay, so we're good, Lance. We can say whatever we want. So when Hank's like stomach fucking explodes and shit, and like the intestines are moving everywhere. How'd you get them to all move all over the place? And
that was awesome.
So that was another like Josh and Sierra thing, but we did that at a bar in Koreatown, I think. I'm totally spacing the name of it, but they had like, I think they just had wires or something to like rip them out, and then they were kind of like, they were basically just like pulling it. It's like one of those fucking like clown gags with like the
yes,
you know, like
yeah. Yes.
Coming out of the sleeves. So they did that, but I mean, it was like endless. They had so many of them, and it was like I remember just watching it like off camera and just being like, Jesus Christ, like,
it's a lot of intestines.
Like you apparently like have enough intestines to like wrap around some like ludicrous amount of space. I can't remember what it is, but I mean, it goes for like miles. And they
right.
Really leaned into that. Yeah, it was pretty wild watching that effect. And then, you know, Sarah also just got totally blasted.
Yes. Yeah, she did all over her face.
Was that the blood cannon again? Or that just something different?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, and they really.
It was a lot.
Like, that was like a full blast, you know, like, no going back from that. And she actually had to like go to my house and take a shower after that, which is why in the scene, there's a scene with her earlier where her hair is back in a ponytail. But like she was so soaked in it, and it was like in her hair and everything that we were just like, I'm like, okay, I live not that far away from here. Just go to my place and use my shower and come back. And it was awesome. You know, she like didn't complain and just was like pretty fucking cool about it. But yeah.
That was
That's
cool.
great.
Just
And all that was in the
collapsing.
restaurant too? Was all that filmed in the restaurant?
Yeah, so it was that I mean it's more a bar than it is a restaurant. I mean, we kind of did it and just said it was like a restaurant, but yeah, that was the same spot.
That was cool of them to let y'all do that. Jeez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
no shit.
Oh, wow.
Do that.
That is so cool.
Dang. But yeah, I mean, they were cool. It was nice.
Nice. So the Oddities place, is that a real Oddities store, or did you guys just set that up to make it look that way?
Sort of. I mean, it was kind of a mix of like both. It's not like a comic book shop, which is sort of weird, and they the place moved into like a bigger location, but yeah, I mean, it was a mix of like production design, and then some of the stuff they had there we used, but a lot of that, Jenny, our production designer, brought in. It was just it was sort of a combo.
Okay, because I was thinking it was there's a place by you guys and it's an oddity store and it's pretty popular, but I can't remember the fucking name of it.
There's a few of them. There's one in Hollywood.
I think it's that one.
There's one in what is it? There's one at Venice. There's an oddity store.
Oh.
And there's also one, I think it's in Pasadena, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, the place
like strange and unusual, or
that's the one in Hollywood.
No, I think I'm completely spacing the name. I think it was whatever the Mystic Museum used to be called.
That's what I was. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
They had another name at the time, or I think I can't remember. I mean, it was like they were in that location, and then I think they moved out of it maybe like a year or two later, and then they've been in their like bigger spot for a bit now. I think maybe like 2 years or like a little over a year. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Well, I mean, there's also the Museum of Death that they opened up now too in Hollywood.
That's some cool
stuff. That's
stuff.
not what I was thinking, but that'd be cool.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's I don't know if you guys have been there. That's like a place where it's like you kind of just go through that once and you're like, okay, I feel
I haven't done with that.
I feel dirty.
Dude, for me, that's like a fucking hardware store, dude.
Yeah.
Going to like go in the tool section for hours. But I mean, I do the special effects and I do all that other shit. So like seeing like the how that stuff's all put together is like, ooh, daddy.
Yeah, one thing that like I think like the Museum of Death is like a lot of like real, it's like just photos of like real dead bodies.
Oh, wow.
And all that stuff, and it's like not quite the vibe we're going. I mean, if you're like into true crime or whatever, it's like an amazing place to go to. But
see, stuff like that gives me ideas for what I want to do in my films.
That's great.
Jackson's like, awesome.
Yeah, you go hang
you got
out
a
there.
problem. There's something wrong with you.
I mean, look, it's been an operation for like probably decades at this point. So
Oh wow,
easy.
I thought it was new.
Nah,
I didn't know it was that old.
It's been a while. I mean, it's been here. It's got to be like over 12 years at this point. I mean, probably.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was like a new thing.
No, it's.
They had some sicko or something in Houston walking the oddity shop. I don't know where exactly. One of the bigger ones here in Houston, and just set the place on fire and walked out.
Whoa! Like,
holy shit!
Total, complete loss. Complete loss.
Wow.
The whole thing burned down. Yeah, and they tackled him outside, held him to the cops, showed up. He said God or something made him do it or whatever.
Wow.
How did he?
Yeah,
like,
just walks in and catches the lights place on fire. From people around and everything. Nobody got hurt.
Was he just like using gasoline or something?
I'm assuming something, yeah. Gas packs or something.
Flamethrower.
Yeah, I don't guess he was too dangerous because they said the owner tackled him and waited till the cops got there. So
dang.
I'm more curious, like how he got to the point where he's like actually lighting the place on fire.
I know. I just a little hairs on the back of your head, stuff like this. This can't be right. I can't do this. You know,
he's like,
the
burn,
heck?
bitches.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, he's gonna stop any second.
Yeah, he'll stop. This is an oddities place.
Yeah, they're like, he's
Of
just.
course.
All the formaldehyde's blowing up.
I feel for those people, but man, that's just, hopefully they can rebuild or something.
Yeah, well, hopefully they had insurance.
Yeah. I hope so. Jeez.
They're never gonna get that shit back.
No
The
shit.
fuck?
Oh man.
Well, that escalated quickly.
That escalated real quickly. Watch out here in your oddity shops.
Yeah. Someone's gonna light that shit on fire.
Man.
So the switchblade. What's the story about the switchblade?
Oh, so actually there is a good story, and you're probably the only person who's ever asked that.
Yeah.
Exclusive.
I actually got that from Sage Stallone, who was the owner of Grindhouse Releasing along with Bob Murawski, and I met him in 2008, I think. It's somewhere around there, but him and this other actor that he was hanging out with at the time, they were like, "Oh, we're buying switchblades, and like we're gonna get you one." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Like, it was just super weird. Like, I'm not really into like guns or knives or anything, but I was like, "All right, I'll take one."
Once again, everything just happens for Jackson,
I mean, trust me, these happen very rarely. But it's basically like he just ordered them, and then Sage unfortunately passed away about 7 years ago now, and then that was just sort of like my way of like paying tribute to him,
awesome.
putting that in there. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of a bummer because he was like a really brilliant guy, and he made the short Vic with Clu Gulager, who was in Return of the Living Dead and The Uninvited, and recently in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And it's like one of the best short films I've ever seen. But it's like it's never really come out for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why. If it was just like his family didn't really put it up or whatever, but yeah, I mean, he was a super talented guy, and he's basically like the reason that Lucio Fulci had his revival. Like Sage kind of like saved all the elements from the Beyond, because Grindhouse initially like picked that up for like a theatrical run in I think like the mid 90s or something. But yeah, I mean, he was just like a really fascinating dude, and he spent like a lot of time with Lucio Fulci in Italy, like back in I think like after Rocky 5 came out, like he just wanted to like go and like meet all these Italian guys like Umberto Lenzi and Fulci. He like really wanted to go and make a movie in Italy, and unfortunately it was not in the cards for him, but he's had like a really lasting impact, I think, with cult cinema. It's like him and Bob have just rescued so many amazing movies, like Gone with the Pope. Like that movie literally like wouldn't have ever been finished had Bob and Sage not like found the elements, which were just rotting in Duke Mitchell's garage, and like it was like the movie was just never going to get finished. And they've done that for a ton of other stuff. But I mean, I'm happy like Grindhouse is still going and everything. But yeah, I mean, he was like a real hero for cult cinema.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is a great story.
He really knows his shit.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
There is some Italian influence in that movie. Yes, there is.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's cool.
Thank you.
So as far as the game board, who made the game board? Because I read, hang on real quick, because I read that you were actually there reading the Ouija directions. Is that true?
Yeah, God, good eye. You're like one of the only people who's ever caught that. But yeah, so there's another crazy story with that. Initially, I was talking to like a I was talking to this graphic designer guy about doing the game board, and I just wanted to like, I don't know if you guys have played Nightmare, but like the board for that, Nightmare, the VCR board game, the board for that is just kind of like not that exciting. You know, it's like a graveyard, and there's kind of like a path that goes down it. And so I wanted it to be like a spooky version of Clue, you know, that would kind of like match the they were in. So initially we had this guy did like a version of it, and it was just a complete piece of shit. You know, I mean, it looked like terrible. It was like bright orange, and like it just was like way off. It looked like he spent maybe like 4 minutes on it. And so I fired that guy. I went, and I think like my ex-girlfriend at the time was gonna like make one, and she's now like she's like a pretty big graphic designer, but it was like it still just felt like off. Like it was, her version like looked like something you would get from like Milton Bradley. And want that. Like I want it to look fucking weird and kind of like an Edward Gorey like version of Clue, you know, where it's like a lot of like cross hatching and just kind of like an old school horror vibe. And Brendan Whiff is the guy who did the board. He's like, he works in video games. He's working for Infinity Ward right now. He was doing the new Call of Duty game, doing like a bunch of animation and stuff and artwork for that. But he's worked on like Tony Hawk and like all these other huge things. But he's like an incredible artist. Like he's done like a bunch of paintings for like James Gunn and all these people that are like, fucking mind blowing. And, you know, I just hit him up, and I like basically like begged him to do this board, because we were like really getting close to shooting, and he just fucking like completely knocked it out of the park. And then funny enough, he actually like did the first pass on the poster too. Like he did all the hand painted stuff with like their likenesses. And then he basically got it like 60% of the way there, and then I hired Mark Schoenbach to like do the rest of it and like really kind of give it like the proper vibe. Like Brendan got it most of the way there, but he's not like a professional like poster guy, and Mark was. So he like recognized how good Brendan's work was and utilized a lot of that. But yeah, it was like a cool combo between these two people.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah, it looks fucking good. It did remind me of Dark Clue too. I was like, oh, it's got the rooms.
Yeah,
for sure.
Super cool.
Thank you.
I liked it.
Really?
Huh?
Faux show. What'd you say, Sam?
Absolutely.
Oh. Like I heard you, but not all the way.
Yeah.
Y'all are going on. Fuck, keep the energy up. Shit. You guys are right on fucking track. Normally, I'm just here to make sure you guys stay on track, but you guys are fucking dead on the money tonight, so you just go right on. Don't pay attention to me. I'm just fucking pretty face. I open up the show and I close the show. So.
Beautiful face.
The lighting was fucking awesome. The purples and the pink hues that you did.
Oh, thanks.
I loved that. Even the poster, the poster looks like that.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. So the way we kind of did that was like there was this Brian, my DP, and I had kind of like a lighting scheme we had for the movie as they're kind of like getting further into the game, where it's like when, you know, the nighttime stuff starts, it's a little more kind of like natural looking. And then we sort of like introduce that like hazer like blue tint that you see in like so many 80s movies during like nighttime scenes. And it just builds into them like ultimately like kind of walking into the 1980s basically was how, you know, I wanted that to to look for the, this other dimension. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting, like shooting that, because there was like all sorts of points where we had to be like, okay, we're at this point in the story, so it's like this far along, and we'd go back, and then it would be like, a less intense version of that. And but yeah, I mean, we tried to do everything like in camera and not have it be like a thing after the fact that we were just trying to fix all of it in post. Like when we were on set for that, it just, the whole fucking house looked like that. And it was pretty fun to walk around in.
Yeah, it was badass. Like I told you that years ago when I watched it, I was like, the fucking lighting is so cool.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
How about the music, Jackson?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, well, there were, Wojciech Golczewski did the score for that. He also did We Are Still Here.
Oh yeah.
He did this other movie called Mohawk. He's done a ton of stuff, but he did the main score. The opening title was done by Vincenzo Salvia, who basically, like, when I was putting it together with my editor, I had like a bunch of different tracks I was trying over the VCR footage, and then I found that one in this like compilation that I bought, and it was called Outrun with the Dead, and I was just like, oh, this song is fucking perfect. Like, this is just, and it sounded like it almost sounded like Beyond the Gates in it, which was really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know, like it was just one of these like a fortuitous kind of things that I found it, but I reached out to Vincenzo, and I was like, hey, I'm fucking obsessed with this song. Can I please use it for my movie? And I'll pay you whatever. And he was like, sure. And and then now he's like, he had a song on the most recent season of Stranger Things, which that's
where I recognize that name from. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Which was like really validating for me on a weird level, because it was like, oh, it's so cool. This dude has like gone on to like this huge thing. But yeah, it was like, Vincenzo had like the banging, title track, and then Wojciech added, he brought like a lot of really, genius ideas to it. Like he wanted to use this thing called the SID, which is what they used to make music on the Commodore 64, which has like a really unique sound, but it was like perfect for, a movie that's kind of about analog media, to use something like that. So, yeah, it was those two dudes, and they did a terrific job, and I love them both.
Nice. Yeah, I did like the music. It was badass.
Thank you.
Love that movie. Got to get it in my collection ASAP.
It's available via Shout Factory, I believe.
Shout Factory does have it?
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Love Shout Factory. My wife doesn't love Shout Factory, but I love Shout Factory. I do. A little too much.
It's like, oh, here comes a new edition of, the Progeny. You gotta pick that up.
Honey, please.
Please. Oh shit. Well, this is fucking awesome.
Sam,
are you there?
It's me? What? What did I miss?
So what are you working on now? Are you doing a sequel to it, or are you doing something completely different?
I'm doing something different now. We were going to do a sequel, and we still might at some point, but it was kind of like Steve, my co-writer, and I, we both just had like completely different ideas on how we wanted it to go. Like Steve had sort of like a kind of like a scavenger hunt idea, which probably would have been cool. And then the one I wanted to do was kind of like was kind of like The Stuff basically, but with like VCR board games where like they get like super popular, and there's this like huge 80s sort of like nostalgia craze that happens, and it was like a much bigger movie. It was kind of like the, you know, like the Evil Dead 2 jump, but yeah, we're not really. I wrote like a draft of it, but other stuff happened, and we had like another project that was getting ready to go, and then that got delayed, and it's just, you know, there's like a million reasons for why like a movie, you know, takes forever to get off the ground. But yeah, I've got some like rewrite jobs that I've just been doing for like the past 6 months, and then I'm getting ready to direct like another feature that's that I can't announce quite yet, but it's kind of like in the vein of like Session 9 or, you know, Flatliners or something. It's a little
cool.
It's pretty weird. It's a little more psychological and messy, but yeah, so I'm just, you know, working on that right now with a producer, and planning to shoot that in the springtime. So it should be coming up pretty quick.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, other than that, that's like the only thing I can sort of tease right now. And then there's, you know, like a million other things in various stages of development. So
I shall not talk about yet.
Those
we do not speak of.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're getting closer, because that's like a whole other podcast to go into.
Well, shit, we're gonna get you back on.
Hell yeah.
We'll definitely have to have you back on, but we're about out of time tonight, so let's go ahead and get to the part of our show where we not only thank you for being such an amazing guest and all of your knowledge, because dude, you were
amazing
on point, dude. Your stories, your energy was great. It was fucking awesome. So let's get to the point of the show where we want to give our special shout outs. And, you know, of course, you know, you just talked about one of your current projects, what you got going on, when you're getting ready to shoot. Is there anybody in particular you'd like to thank, any production companies, or, you know, anywhere people can look you up and stuff like that?
I'm on Instagram at Mr. Jackson Stewart. People I want to shout out. I mean, I guess Brian Yesna and Stuart Gordon, those guys are like my mentors. And we're doing, this is probably not going to be up by the time this happens, but I'm hosting a screening of Return of the Living Dead 3.
Oh, my favorite.
I know, yeah.
We were just talking about that before you came on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like right before you popped on, we were talking about that.
Yeah, it's amazing. But I'm hosting a screening of that with Brian, John Penny who wrote it, and Steve Johnson who did the effects at the Alamo Draft House. It's sold out now, but it's I think they're gonna film it, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, I guess, you know, Brian and Stuart Gordon, they're my ride or dies. So if people haven't seen their movies, I highly recommend them. They're, you know, incredible filmmakers, and just they were, you know, super ahead of the game. Total geniuses. Got nothing but good things to say about them.
Awesome.
Cool.
Oh, I wish we were there.
No, you're just talking about it.
Well, we'll send you like a QuickTime file of it when it's done.
That works. All right.
Oh yeah. Badass.
Cool.
Oh yeah. So, all right, Lance. Once again, thank you so much, Jackson, for being on the show. It was fucking amazing having you on. Lance, go ahead and take us out, brother. What you got?
Let's see. Primetime Horrors coming soon. Thad Timothy, Lance Dale, L2, and David Martin. Daryl Hook, check him out. He's Mr. Meat Hook on YouTube. And we have the Badass Halloween 3 group on Facebook. Check that out. Super, really cool group. Halloween 3 rules.
Oh, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, we need to get you on there. Let's see, Roy and Lisa Rose at the gas station. And the Cult Classic Convention's coming soon in February. Be there.
Valentine's Horror.
That's right. Valentine's weekend. That's right. Indie Brigade. I can't talk. Indie Brigade. Joe's going to be mad at me for butchering that. Indie Brigade, which is freaking awesome, which is George C. Romero and Joe Ridgely show. They push everything indie, music, movies, everything. Great guests. I've had a few shows. It's really, really good. Some of our favorites from our past shows, Billy Pond, Parrish Randall, Bill Oberst Jr. We're going to meet, hopefully we're all going to get to meet them in February.
Oh my God,
Yes.
I am such a fucking dick. How could I have not done this?
What happened?
Oh my God.
Did you get it?
Nice.
Oh, you got it. What'd you get?
I got my package and I put it up on the shelf because I'm such a fucking dickhead. And I've had so much shit going on. Bloody Bill, I am so sorry, my brother. I absolutely fucking adore you. I got the picture with the
He got a dick. He got a dick.
with the tongue sticking out of it.
Yours has
That's
a face.
awesome.
Mine doesn't have
That's
a
right.
face. Mine's in gold.
Yours is in gold?
That's
I
awesome.
have a gold dick.
Mine's in blue. I don't care if you have a gold dick.
That's awesome.
We don't want to
Classy,
know
bitch.
toys. And then I got this from Bloody
Oh,
Bill.
that's
Look at
awesome.
that, motherfuckers. What's up, bitches? And then I got that from Bloody Bill.
Oh, doll boy. That's awesome.
Oh, and that's in gold.
That's awesome.
Gold. And then I got that from Bloody Bill.
Awesome. I got that signed.
I got it too. Mine's in
And then I got
gold.
that from
Oh,
Bloody
that is wicked.
Bill. And wait, we're not done yet.
I'm mad, Billy Pond. I'm mad, Billy Pond.
And then I got that from Bloody Bill.
Oh, that's great.
I'm gonna match your ass.
And then I got that from Bloody Bill.
Show off.
Mine's hanging up.
This is the one
got
of him
that too.
spanking Art the Clown.
I got
You
that
see
too.
that?
It's
Oh,
hanging up.
wow.
Okay?
Lance, we got to get
Hold
you
on,
these.
we're not done yet.
I know
We're
it.
not done yet. I got a dick pic.
Oh, man.
Okay. And I got that from Bloody Bill.
Have you seen that movie yet, Jackson? Circus of the Dead?
No, I should check it out.
You
it's
should.
really good.
It's so good.
And I've got that from Bloody Bill.
Check that out, Jackson. Land of the Dawn of the Dead.
He doesn't
Yeah,
notice.
And I got that.
I think I have that one.
Okay. And I got
Oh my God, he gave you so
I got the
much.
tattoo.
I got that.
I got that too.
And I got that.
Man, y'all are spoiled.
And I got
I've got some shit for you.
I got fucking Billy Hendrix, dude.
Oh, that's badass.
Mine are better.
Spoiled.
Mine are in
rotten.
gold.
In gold.
All my shit's in gold.
Oh, my shit's in gold.
Lucky.
All right, Lance. Sorry to cut you off.
No, that
brother.
was perfect.
I had to thank Mr. Bloody Bill himself because the dude's
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
He is amazing.
We love Bloody Bill and we love Circus of the Dead. So
Absolutely.
what's up, bitches?
You'll like it, Jackson.
It's
You
really
will.
good.
Dude, Bill Oberst Jr. fucking knocks it out of the park as popcorn.
It
Yeah,
goes
I
off the rails.
I just watched him in Three from Hell, and I thought he
Yeah.
was great.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see. We got
Badass.
real quick. I'll just a few more. Got Tyler Shea Cohn, who's an executive producer on our
Normal
movie
Terror.
on Normal Terror, and then we got Brian Clegg, who's done some of that artwork back there. You were asking about Jackson. I think Leatherface and Freddie.
Oh
And
yeah.
And Clegg just retired.
Yeah, Captain Spaulding.
Super bummed about that.
I am
Right?
too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's really
Fucking
sad.
telling me.
I got his autograph up there though, somewhere back there.
Oh, nice.
Aw.
Let's see. Then I've always make sure I tell Sam and Rand, thank you very much for my co-hosts. I love them very much. My wife, off camera, Samantha, for helping us stay focused.
Yeah.
Chris Attella helps with our music, and I'm trying to. I got called out today, so I'm gonna try to get this right. So much for the last few episodes, I've kind of stopped because I was intimidated to say the names, but they have done so much for us, and that's Itai Guberman, and A Soft Angel from My Indie Productions.
Yes.
Freaking rule. We love them so much. 1031-2 should be out. Check it out. It's got some badass faux trailers. If you haven't seen 1031, see 1031. 1031-2 is out. It's got some cool faux trailers, a little bit better, I guess I don't want to say better production value, just it's a really, really well done. Rocky Gray outdid himself on that one. Indiegogo's been very successful, Stranded and Butcher's Bluff. And I want to say real quick that I've seen a lot of I want to see more indie people come together, which I think that's why Indie Brigade is very important, that we all need to start being more of a family, because I'm seeing a lot of infighting going on, and I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me.
A lot of hating and a lot of bullshit going on.
I want everybody to be successful.
Unnecessary drama.
And like Sam says, he doesn't want to leave anybody behind. He wants to take everybody to the top. There's room for everybody at the top. And I don't want to see any infighting. I want to see everybody give along big cyber hugs, and we can all do this. Yes, we can all do this. So that's my 2 cents, and Oakley Dokley, I'm done.
Good job.
Oh, Rhiannon's book. Sorry.
In my book.
Get Rhiannon's book.
All right, Z, what you got?
All right. As always, Lance.
Everybody
Lance said. Everybody's fucking amazing. Of course, My Indie Productions, because every week they shout us out and post and Twitter and Instagram.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Twitter,
thank you, Jackson, for coming on. I'm super excited you're able to do it. And we figured everything out.
Of course.
Thank my co-hosts, Sam and Lance. And then buy my book, Broken Halo, on Amazon. Amazon Kindle and paperback. So
you got to get the first one, because there's going to be 2 more.
Yeah, there's 2 more. I don't know when they're going to be released though, but there's going to be 3 in the series. I'm working on my 4th. So Aaron Lee at Crazy Ink Publishing. So thank you for that.
Awesome.
I'm good.
Are you Oakley Dokley done?
Oakley Dokley done.
Thank you, Jackson, for coming on. We got to get him back on for sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, and before we head out, let me close this out with saying thank you guys to my co-hosts so much for being here. I think we're on like our 30-something show, 40-something episode or something.
I think it's 30. I think Jackson made 30.
Okay, sweet.
So big 30.
That's right.
We've been pushing this for a little while now, and every week we do 1, 2, 3, 4 episodes sometimes in a single week and get stuff going. So you guys are always there. You guys are always consistent. You guys are always just fucking on the top of your game. And I want to thank you guys for that. So thank you guys. I love you guys to death.
Love you.
I love you.
And as we get back into production on Normal Terror, as you know, the last few weeks, we've really been busting out a lot of footage. And we only have a couple of more scenes left in the normal side of the movie to go. And we will be completely wrapped with all of the normal footage. So I want to thank my cast. I want to thank my crew. They have done an absolutely amazing job. We're getting some fucking killer footage.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
It's just we're fucking rocking right now, and it's absolutely amazing. So thank you to my DP PJ Aaron Riley, and my first camera op Stephen Drayton. I butcher everybody's fucking name, don't worry about it. And of course my BTS Veronica Viviana Hernandez, who's taking all of the BTS footage of us behind the scenes. My son Sammy, my co-star, he is just fucking killing it. Absolutely fucking killing it. So,
good job, Sammy.
And of course everybody that's working behind the scenes, my executive producer, Eve Gray, and Tyler Shea Cohn, all of the work that they're doing, and my editor in Colorado, and just fucking everybody's just killing it right now. So thank you guys so much for everything that you're doing. It's because of you guys that we're able to do what we're able to do. So we do it for you. And once again, from Sacrificial Terror Podcast, sponsored by Sacrificial Productions, we're out, bitches.
Bye.